Hey there, friends. It's René Caruso, and I'm coming at you live from my kitchen. I went grocery shopping with one of my clients yesterday, and she asked me about spices, flavorings, and other condiments that I keep in my house and that I use regularly. And I thought that this would be a really good time to show you what I keep in my house, how I keep food interesting and flavorful without using any gummy, icky sauces, fillers, things like that. So let's get started. I have on the counter here a variety of vinegars. They all have a different flavor profile, and that's why I keep them, because I use them for different things. Most of you will recognize apple cider vinegar. This is very common. I use this predominantly for dressing my salads, and occasionally I'll put it in with my homemade mayonnaise because I want a certain bite to it. Balsamic vinegar, very common. This is one I get at Trader Joe's because it's a very consistent flavor and it's mild. Rice vinegar, also very common. I use this when I'm doing Asian cooking. This is new to my collection and I used it for the first time the other day. It is magnificent. It is a Chinese black vinegar that is aged 3 years. And the flavor is like an umami flavor. It added depth and resonance and interest to the sauce in the stir fry that I made. And I'd highly recommend trying it out. It was fantastic. This is another vinegar that I like for seasonal salads, especially light summertime, but also fall, where I'm using some roasted vegetables, more onions, some cheeses, maybe a couple pieces of fruit in my salads. This raspberry vinegar is the only one that I have found that has a mother in it. So it is a fermented raspberry vinegar. And I really appreciate that about it. The flavor is robust and very full. And then, of course, a red wine vinegar. Common for all sorts of things. I vary it with salad dressing, but predominantly still use the apple cider. Now, a couple of other things that are in my pantry that I like to use to add depth and flavor and variety that are not chemical laden or icky. Soy sauce. I happen to like the Trader Joe's soy sauce because it's not overly salty. Red Boat fish sauce. This is either something you're going to like or you're not. And it can be very salty, so it doesn't take a whole lot. But again, it adds depth and resonance to stir fries and chicken and shrimp, even in a light dipping sauce with mayonnaise. It sounds crazy, but it works really well. Sesame oil. I probably should have shot this when I did the oil video, but I don't cook with sesame oil because it breaks down. But I use this for flavoring in my Asian foods. This is kind of a departure, and we'll get to sugars in a moment, but this is a raspberry molasses, and it only has natural raspberry molasses. I brought this out to show you because sometimes, again, when it's fall and the seasons are changing and I want to play with some roasted veggies, roasted butternut squash, chèvre, roasted nuts in a salad, I'll mix this with a little bit of the raspberry vinegar to bring more flavor profile to the dish. Salt. I have a couple different types of salt. Salt, like so many other herbs and spices, is very nuanced. And you can change the way your dish tastes dramatically just by switching up a salt. Most of us know of pink Himalayan salt. There's varying grades and qualities. Redmond pink Himalayan salt, I think, is one of the best there is, and I usually buy it in the chunks. A flaky sea salt. I got really enamored with the flavor of this when we were in Italy last year in Florence, and they were using flaked salt on our steaks. And so when I came home, I bought some, cooked with it, and it's delicious. It's completely different on the steak than a regular salt or even a pink salt. Standard sea salt or kosher salt. I use this for boiling eggs and stuff like that. And then a couple that you may not have heard of, but this is a gray, coarse Celtic sea salt. Again, very nuanced flavor, and you decide when you're starting to play with this what tastes good to you and what doesn't. But there's a lot of robustness to these varying flavors depending on what it is you're cooking. And then lastly, what I have here is a mineral sea salt, Baja Gold. What I've discovered playing with it is that tends to be a little more salty than I'm used to, so I don't need a whole lot when I'm cooking anything with it or sprinkling it on veggies or anything. I go super light because it's got big flavor. So hang on, I'm going to turn the video around and then I'm going to show you some of the spices and stuff that are in my spice cupboard. Okay, so this is my spice cupboard. Let me stand over here for you. And what you're going to see is I'm pretty organized in terms of what I like to use consistently, which is easy to get to. I have a little bit of my baking products up here, and I have gaps in my cupboard because I don't have anything else to put in there right now. So on the lower level is basically all the stuff I cook with day in, day out, from basil to thyme to oregano, garlic. I have an Italian in the house who loves garlic, so we have the big size. Peppercorns, a few blends, and there is also a brand called Pesni's that I like to buy from online that has guaranteed freshness with regard to their herbs and spices. So I go back and forth between Pesni's and some of the Trader Joe's brands. There's a huge turnover at Trader Joe's, so I'm almost always getting a fresh batch of spices, so I like their quality as well. On this second shelf I want you to see I do have sugar in my house. I have a regular raw honey that we got at a festival not too long ago, which is delicious. I have a maple syrup that I bought this past Christmas for a egg white French toast concoction I was making that was very nice. And then I have a jar of honey here that is from Lebanon, from Cyprus, that we've had for a while, and it is still delicious. I don't use it very often, but I like it in case I'm going to do something that requires a little bit of honey. Vanilla beans, some of my baking supplies and extracts, more salt, and then the only other sugar that I actually bake with is allulose. And allulose is a probiotic sugar. It works just like regular sugar in some of your baking, and I have it there for when I'm cooking things that needs a little bit more sweetness than maybe I'm normally used to, but I also have to consider when guests come over, and I want it to be very palatable for them as well. So that is my spice cabinet. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is the inside of my refrigerator where the condiments are, because I want you to see I don't have a lot of condiments because I don't like personally icky sauces. I don't like stuff that's got all sorts of fillers, binders, corn syrups, and any of that in there. I would rather try to concoct my own sauce that has richer flavor, no junk. That's the biggest thing, no junk. And I also like the flavor of food. I don't want to mask my food with sauces. I want to taste my food, and I want an enhancement and an enrichment of it. So hang tight. Let me turn the camera around again. Okay, last but not least, this is the inside of my fridge. And you'll see from my condiments from the top down, my top shelf is mostly supplements. I do have a jar of my homemade sun-dried tomatoes there, my coconut cream. Second row is sun-dried tomatoes, olives, and all the bone broth. Drinks, the pickles that I almost always have, 2 different types of kraut. My fats, duck fat, Wagyu beef tallow, and here's the totality of the majority of my other condiments. I have 3 types of mustard because mustard is nuanced and I like different flavor for different things that I'm making. I do have a Trader Joe's salsa in here that I use from time to time, more garlic of course, a nut butter in the back, and then I do have 2 little jams in here that are left over from something I was trying to bake at Christmas time. One is a fig and one is a natural apricot. So outside of that, there are no condiments in my fridge. So thank you for watching. If there's anything I can do to help explain or give you guidelines on where to get some of these things that I'm purchasing, Most of the unusual stuff, like the aged black rice, black vinegar, the raspberry vinegar with a mother, all of that stuff is available on Amazon. Sometimes it just takes a little while to get. So go through your fridge, go through your pantry, take a look at the stuff, look at the ingredients that are on the label, and take a look how many junk oils, how many fillers, how much corn syrup, or other natural flavors are in there that may not be the best for you and could actually be ruining your food. How much of your food is being masked by these junk sauces and things that are available to us versus being able to bring out the real flavor of food and enjoy it in a way that's actually really, really palatable. I hope to hear from you. Please leave your comments below. And if there's anything I can do to help you reach your health and wellness goals, please reach out to me, Renee at renecaruso.life. You can join my Facebook group, Eat, Evolve, Inspire on Facebook, or follow me on Instagram at rene.caruso. Thanks for watching, friends.